Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation. Today, we'll be exploring the concept of authority in Isnad. This is a fascinating topic that dives into the significance of chain of narration in Islamic sciences. Over the next few slides, we'll cover its importance, how it's evaluated, and its impact on authenticity. Let's get started. Welcome to Slide 2. Today, we're exploring the concept of Isnad, which is fundamental in understanding Hadith. Isnad essentially means chain, and it refers to the chain of narrators that transmits the Hadith from the original source. Now, there are different types of Isnad, each with its own significance. First, we have the Marfu. This type of Isnad goes back directly to the Prophet Muhammad, but there may be some breaks or interruptions along the chain. So, while it's close to the source, it's not always continuous. Next, we have the Musnad. This is considered more authentic because the Isnad is uninterrupted and clearly goes back directly to the Prophet himself. A Musnad hadith is generally seen as stronger in terms of its chain of narration. Then we have the Mawquf. This type of hadith's Isnad only goes back to a companion of the Prophet, not the Prophet himself. It's important because it reflects the sayings or actions of the companions, which are also valuable. Finally, there's the Maktu. This hadith goes back only to a successor, or tabi, which means it's one step further removed from the Prophet. While still important, it may not carry the same weight as the others. Now, why does the authority of the Isnad matter so much? Well, it helps us determine the authenticity and reliability of the hadith. A strong, uninterrupted Isnad gives us higher confidence that the narration is accurate. Throughout this presentation, we'll see how these classifications influence the overall understanding and application of hadith. Today, I want to highlight a significant hadith from the Muwatta that emphasizes the importance of specific religious practices during the pilgrimage. Yahya reports from Malik, who in turn narrates from Hisham ibn Urwa. The key point here is a statement made by Hisham's father about spending the nights of Mina at Makkah. He clearly says, "No one must spend the night anywhere except Mina." This hadith underscores the importance of adhering to the prescribed locations during Hajj, particularly in Mina, which is a crucial part of the pilgrimage rituals. It's not just a casual suggestion, but a firm directive that highlights the significance of following the Sunnah and the rulings related to Hajj. Connecting this to our overall theme, it reminds us that every detail in the pilgrimage has spiritual and religious importance. Observing these guidelines with sincerity helps us fulfill our religious duties properly. So, the message here is about obedience, tradition, and the importance of maintaining the integrity of the rites during Hajj. Let's take a closer look at this slide. Here, we see a hadith mawquf, which means it is a saying of a companion of the Prophet, in this case, Jabir Ra. He narrates something that he attributes to the Prophet, _FDFA, specifically about a very sensitive issue. The hadith states that if a woman is pregnant and her husband passes away, she has no maintenance rights. This point is quite significant because it highlights a specific legal stance regarding the financial rights of widows who are pregnant. It's important to note that this hadith was reported by al-Bayhaqi, and although the narrators are considered reliable, there is some scholarly discussion. Al-Bayhaqi himself mentioned that the correct narration might actually be mawquf, that is, a statement of a companion directly, not necessarily a hadith from the Prophet, _FDFA. Connecting this to our overall theme, it emphasizes the importance of understanding the different types of narrations, whether they are hadiths or mawquf statements, and how they influence Islamic law and social responsibilities. It also reminds us of the nuanced approach needed when interpreting religious texts on sensitive issues like inheritance and support. Now, let's look at this important hadith from Ibn Umar. He tells us that anyone who drinks wine in this world and does not repent will be deprived of the pure drink in the hereafter. This highlights the serious consequences of consuming alcohol without remorse. When asked if this hadith is considered marfu, meaning directly from the Prophet, the answer was yes. This indicates its strong authenticity and significance. Remember, this serves as a clear warning about the spiritual risks involved with drinking wine. It ties into our overall theme of accountability and the importance of turning back to Allah before it's too late. Today, I want to highlight a fundamental principle from Hadith Musnad, narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. May Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, emphasized that there should be neither harming others nor reciprocating harm. This means we should avoid causing harm to anyone and also not respond to harm with more harm. It's a powerful reminder about kindness and justice in our interactions. This hadith, which is considered Hasan, is supported by other scholars like Ibn Majah and Ad-Daraqutni, confirming its importance. Connecting this to our overall theme, it underscores the importance of maintaining ethical conduct and compassion in all our dealings, reflecting the true spirit of Islamic teachings. Now, let's talk about weaknesses in the isnad, or chain of narration. One common issue is discontinuity, which we see in types like mursal, munqati, and muddal. These are cases where the chain is broken, meaning the link between the narrators is missing or unclear. Sometimes, we also encounter mawquf and maktu narrations, which are sayings or actions attributed to the companions or others, not directly from the Prophet. However, it's important to understand that when these ahadith have other than the Prophet as the final authority, they are generally not considered legally binding. They might have historical or contextual value, but they don't hold the same weight in legal rulings. So the key takeaway here is that isnad weakness, especially due to discontinuity, affects the reliability of a hadith. Recognizing these issues helps us evaluate which narrations are authentic and which ones need cautious consideration, tying back to our overall goal of understanding authentic Islamic teachings.